In this video, I'm going to talk about variables. So, what are variables? Variables are like containers, right? So basically, for example, if I have a name, I have a height in inches and a value of 1 foot in inches. These names should have certain value. For instance, this should have a name Siddharth. This should have an, let's say, some height. This has some value. All right. And these values need to go into some kind of box, right? So the values will go into this box and the box will be called name, right? So this name becomes a variable, right? Now how do you do it in JavaScript? You do it with var, let, or const. And how you do it, I'll show you in a bit. So for example, if I say var first name equals Siddharth, all right, and I type in console.log first name, I forgot a semicolon, right, and I try to print it, so it shows Siddharth. All right, if I do something like let, it still shows Siddharth. If I write const, it shows Siddharth, right? So what's the difference, right? So for example, let's do const, and that's the easiest I think we can try. We will change first name to John, right? And I will add a semicolon here. If I reload, assignment to constant variable. So for constant variables, you can't reassign a value. They stay the same as they are throughout. All right. So what is the difference between var and let? So I'll show you two differences. So one is whenever we are typing in a new variable, we are declaring it, right? So let's say first name equals Siddharth, right? And we are saying for example, let's say we write height is equals to 5.3, all right, or let's say 63, right? And then we say Siddharth console.log, let's say we say height, right? So it shows this. In fact, you can declare this as var height later on and it will still work. You can position it here as well. Will show up. But if I say instead of var, I say let height, it will show an uncaught reference error. Cannot access height before initialization. So if it has not been initialized yet and we are still referring it. But the problem does not occur with var because you can declare it at any given point in the code and it will be okay. But with let, you have to first give this height before it is used. Let height, right? So that's the first difference. Second difference is scope. So what is scope, right? Let's try, I'll write a bit complicated stuff I guess for now, but let's say if I say if true, which means always, if true, I want var a equals var variable, var b equals, sorry, not var, let b equals let variable and const c equals const variable, right? And then we'll say console.log a, console.log b, console.log c. To identify things, I'll write console.log inside if block. Now outside, I'll say console.log abc again, actually. So I'll take this, control X, console.log a, b, and c, right? And I am typing console.log outside if block, right? So what I'm trying to do is, let's say if I create some sort of block, all right, and inside that I declare three variables, right? Will these variables be fetched outside of the block also? So that is the scope. So how long is a variable valid for, right? Do they apply inside the block only or outside the block also, right? So I'll save it, I'll reload it. If true reference true is not defined. Okay. Let's say let z equals true, and if z true is not defined, is it supposed to be true or true? Like as in if true, okay, it has to be small case, sorry. Yeah. So now if you see, uh, inside if block, uh, nothing prints. Oh, because I removed everything. Okay, sorry. Control C, let's say Control V, right? Yeah. So inside the if block, all the variables var, let, const, all are showing up, but outside the block, only var variable is showing up, and then we get an error. B is not defined. That's because B is only applicable within this area. In fact, if I remove this, you will see the same error with C. So it will say C is not defined. That's because C also applies only to this area. But var is global. It means it will apply to the entire code, right? So var has a global scope compared to let and const. All right. So those are the two difference of var and let. The use case will be very clear when we start using it in proper code. The concept of why var can operate without being declared, but let needs to be declared, is something called JavaScript hoisting, which means even if a variable is undeclared before using, but it is a var variable and it is later declared, JavaScript will automatically know that okay, this is declared later on, it shouldn't be an issue, we'll take it and run with it. But the same cannot be applied with let and const because they are non-hoisted variable declarations. You need to declare them before using them in any way, right? So var seems to have, it's like a kill switch kind of variable declaration. I feel that you can use it in any situation and it will just work. But I think it creates major problems, right? For example, what if I say, for example, let's say I have another block, if true, and I just write that a equals random change, right? and console.log a, right? So you will see random change will apply here. And that's a scary concern, because if I am not careful with my names and I have used a var variable somewhere and it changes, it will be very hard to figure out where I have done that. So I think let and const are, more uh, in a way very succinct and foolproof methods of variable declarations. Yeah. Another thing is how we name these variables, right? So like writing something like let um, foot by, sorry, let's say inches in feet, right, can be very confusing. In fact, if I have to be very descriptive, I can say inches length converted into feet. Right now, this is a very long but descriptive variable language, but it's overly descriptive. Like you will have to type it every single time you are using it. So it's advised that you use something like a camel case, right? Uh, which means you uppercase all the first letters of the words except the first word. All right. Or you can use something like Pascal casing, which is this, or you can give underscores as well, right? Inches in feet. So these become kind of readable, and then use